side of a police stop. There really are some very basic things that can make your police stop on the side of the road go well as can be expected because you drew their attention. And I think that's worth doing for people, especially the young members of the audience. They're going to watch Beyonce. They're going to be all revved up. They're going to get pulled over. They're going to make things worse for themselves. So we're going to go into greater length about it. But I just wanted to remind you, right now, you can do a better job of not getting yourself in trouble. All right, we're going to have an expert on this topic.
Everybody listen to the edtyll show. You may not like what he has to say, but he's gonna say it anyway.
All right, so we're back in about 30 seconds at 1:40.
Come on, everybody, edtyll show. He's the baddest cat around. He got the sharpest tongue in this whole damn town.
You have reached 520-508-0211.
From all the crazy storylines to all the main events, edtyll is just a voice in the wilderness. It doesn't make much sense.
Everybody listen to the edtyll show.
You have reached
All right. We are trying to reach our guest right now.
Be a little intense. He's more than just a voice on the radio. Sending out truth to brothers who don't know. And if you can't see your world out there, watch out. Edtyll strip you bare.
I was just off the air calling our guest, and our guest is probably on another phone call or something right now, couldn't come to the phone. And all morning, I have been getting texts from remember the other day? We kept getting a phone call, and I thought I recognized it as one of our longtime listeners, and I believe it's the fellow who loves to talk about movies, and I used to look forward to every Monday. He would call around the same time to talk about the movies. So for the past couple of Mondays, I don't know exactly what happened, but we didn't hear from him. And, we have an easier way to call in now, all this kind of stuff. We got a streamlined system. So a couple of days ago, we saw him trying to call in. And we grabbed the call, and there was no answer when we said hello. Then we called them back. They didn't pick up the phone, back and forth. So we're like, all right, you know what? It's a new system. Maybe they didn't recognize the prompts or the sounds unfamiliar to them. So I made a note with the phone number. I said, a big asterisk. You see this phone number, because the guy is an older fella, and like me, he loves the movies. There's very few movies that we can't watch. I mean, there are some, but 90% of the movies that came out over the last 100 years or whatever, we're in on these things. We love the movies. And I heard somebody say last week, I don't know where this is coming from with people, but I heard some very bright person say, I don't understand why you and your friends like to watch the same movie more than once. More than what? I've seen The Godfather 75, 80 times, maybe read the book about 5 times. Are you serious? And it was a serious question that was intimating something wrong with us. Like, what's wrong with us that we waste all of that time rereading or rewatching? And I say, man, that is somebody who's not moved by that artwork. If you're moved by a painting, do you think you go to the Louvre more than once? The local museum. What are you talking about? Appreciation, statues. How many times you see a statue? So it's fascinating to me how some people have a very cursory kind of a very understanding light, L-I-T-E, when it comes to stuff like that, all right? So now you know why I look forward to it. Whenever a big movie opens, like Joker is the last thing that we talked about. Before that was Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which was really interesting. And there's a couple of more that are out since then. I've been on the lookout to talk with him. So we had, I think, one or two other, typically, some people will call into the show when they're not listening to it, and they have no idea what the phone call lands in the middle of. And I've always done everything. I mean, you can never be perfect with this, but I'll try, no matter what the happenstance is, to work with it. Guy's calling in, maybe he's not on the topic, but he's interested in something related to the topic. I try to build a bridge, get everybody in, get the thing focused, and move on. You know, you wish they were listening, but you do the best you can. So we had a couple of misses, and I got a series of texts that says, maybe you don't want to hear from me anymore. Oh my God, this is unbelievable. I have tried so, and again, if he were or she were listening, then they would know that I've talked about, like, right after the phone calls don't work. I talk about it. So I'm signaling, it's a dude. And I don't want to say his name. But the idea is, he's a really valuable voice and always has something great to contribute. This is always going to be the bane of my existence, right? I'm always drawn toward what's interesting, what's kind of different, and then all the baggage that goes with it becomes mine. Then you got to find them. You got to round them up. You got to get, and it can get a little bit crazy. So for absolute sure, my movie buddy, there is no way we don't miss you. But here's the irony. I know he's not listening now because he just, he'll listen, but it won't have anything to do with when he's calling. Because he'll give commentary on what he hears, but that commentary was never intended to be called in. It's the movie stuff that I miss and love the most and can't see. So now he thinks that I don't want to hang out with him to talk about movies. And I'm always up for talking about film. I think it's a great debate what's going on now. Scorsese going after all these Marvel movies. People like me who like a ponderous narrative where you can read a lot into the silences and just the actions of the character, as opposed to things blowing up and, startling and confounding, which is also a lot of fun. I enjoy that, but they're two different things. So I love talking about that because I enjoy movies on both sides. He's missed. He's a valuable, he's one of our wise men. I love people who've been thinking about anything for 30 years. We'll find something in there that's good for us. If you have put a lot of time and effort and focus and energy into something, we know there's something good in there most of the time. Okay. Yeah, I know. I see what you're holding up there, right? John Wayne Gacy, right? Yeah, okay. Whatever. It's because you're a mocker. Did you ever see A Hard Day's Night? You're a mocker. That's what you're doing. You're mocking me. But I'm telling you true. There is value. It goes back to the guest. You heard Lee Jenkins, right? What did he say? Intrinsic, extrinsic, right? Yeah. Yeah. The ones that it's always going to be the things inside that make the most difference, dude. There's only so much that you can polish this thing on the outside. It's what's going on inside. I'm online this morning for about an hour at a big government agency. We're all just waiting in line. We got things to do. We know it's going to be a long time. They give you a number. You sit there and just forget about they're not going to call you a number for a long time. And the room was full, probably 85, 100 people in there, rows and rows of people. Everybody's got a car. Everybody's got plates. And the young couple, right? Dad looks like he's about 20. Mom looks like she's about 20. T-shirts, the Hollister, and the baby, and adorable baby, but out of control and allowed to roam. We're talking 8 inches off the ground here. This kid's not even a foot tall if she's 14 inches tall, but she is roaming. She's running and touching. She's falling, getting back up. It looks like it's a romper room, and the parents are looking at each other because I know what's going on. I said, it's probably the first time they've tried this. Look at how young they are. Look at how young the kid is. They probably had to get this thing done today. Somebody's got to go to work and use the truck. Got to make things legal. Nobody was able to cover for anybody, so it's mom and dad and the kid, and this kid is unleashed. Now, not malicious, nothing super evil, but the lack of control, it was like a pinball machine. The kid was going up and down every aisle. Now, at this particular crowd, there were, some oxygen tanks and some, wheelchairs and some attendants with the tubes. And, how can a little person like that, without guidance, and the two of them are looking at you. You could tell he never has to deal with this. You could tell she's seen this a million times and has no answer for it. And the two of them looked defeated. I felt for them. The look on their face was, I wish we knew what to do. I wish we had some idea of how to stop her. So finally, you got to hand it to him. He's a young dad. I'm sure many dads listening, I know my dad had to do this. They scoop you up and they just change the venue. That's it. One last peep out of you is just too much. It's baroom, you get picked up, baroom, they walk you outside. Within 2 seconds, you're outside the building and the whole room is ready to applaud. They don't applaud because you want to make the guy feel worse. But oh my God, the audible exhale in that room, a beautiful, adorable kid. But if this kid turns out to be a discipline problem, 5th grade, 6th grade, 7th, and starts with the aggression or something, because right now she's very willful. This is all about willful behavior, and you have to recognize it. You got a personality there. You're going to have to pay attention to that. That's not going to be sit down, okay, daddy, and sit down. This kid didn't say, okay, daddy, one time. There was no okay anything from mom. It was all rebellion. So now what happens to that kindergarten teacher in a couple of years? What are you going to do with that? So the perfect school we will continue talking about, but the school was never meant. Didn't Kamala Harris bring this up? I mean, even that even sounds crazy. Like she's got no shot of getting elected, but whatever. I think she said 2 weeks ago, school should be from 8 a.m. until 6 p.m. You get the kid on that school bus, and the school keeps your kid for 10 hours a day. That will be the equivalent of a 50-hour work week for an adult. You have to be somewhere by obligation all those hours. And not even counting travel. Wow. So you're going to throw another hour in to get them there and get them home. Who in their right mind, seriously, what parent really thinks that's a good idea? Now, I understand if it's that or you have no place to put the kid, it'll be a bad option that you will choose. That happens all the time in American life, the bad option choice. All right, we're behind on that break because we're doing, we were going to do the lady from Afghanistan and she was busy. So let me get the break in and then we'll come back with more. It is the Ed Tyll Show, and the Afghanistan lady, I tell you, she's going to be great, but she was tied up.
Say it to you anyway. Listen to the Ed Tyll
He's the baddest cat around, got the sharpest tongue in this whole dang town. He's a G, he's a G, he's a G, he's a G, he's a G. All the news and the storylines to all the main events. He's a voice in the wilderness that just doesn't make any sense. More than just a voice on the radio, sending out the truth to those who don't know. If you can't see your world out there, you better watch out. The man is gonna strip you back.
Oh, yeah, I'm surprised. I would imagine she's not getting a lot of bookings. It's interesting to me. I tried to reach her again. She totally blew us off here today. That's not cool, especially when the topic is so obscure like that. I'm actually interested in what she's got to say. I'm sure most people are not, unless they, I don't know. You would think she would jump at the opportunity. Somebody's actually interested in the beauty of Afghanistan.
Learned on the corner about the school of hard knocks. Found out his rap could be his salvation. Well, now he's talking all across the nation. It's the edtyll show. It's the edtyll show. Come on, everybody. It's edtyll. Now that you tuned him in, you know what I mean. People call him up, discussing every scene. Love him or hate him, he's gonna have his say. He's gonna speak his mind each and every day. It's the edtyll show.
It is the edtyll show, live with you Monday through Friday, noon until 2, Florida Man Radio in Orlando, 105.5 and 660 AM in Gainesville, 94.9. All right, so we were able to leave word, and we'll see. Maybe we'll have our guest back tomorrow. I was all excited. I actually did research on Afghanistan. Yeah, I've always thought of Afghanistan as a place that we should blow up. I don't think there's anything good in Afghanistan for years. Come on. That's where the 9/11 hijackers trained. You would think even in honor of everybody we lost that we would blow up the joint just for that. Just for the amount of American lives that were lost, it would be worth it to me. Because you got the Moab, mother of all bombs. It was built for that joint, right? That's the whole problem with Afghanistan, is you can't do the kind of significant damage to it easily. So people, bad guys, get to hide all over the place. Anyway, I'm interested in... If there, who knows? Maybe there is something you can do with Afghanistan. I'm okay with that. You want to make something out of it? You want to get some civilized people over there? We can have some trade. We can go back and forth. I'm sure there's a lot of things that we could get moving here. But not if it's a jihad territory. Not if we're living in 600 like Mohammed is alive. You want to come into modernity, here we are. All right, it's the edtyll show. Shannon Burke is up next. We're back tomorrow. Join us then.
Come on, everybody, to the edtyll show. Edtyll show. Come on, everybody. All the crazy storylines. To all the main events. Edtyl's a voice in the wilderness. One that don't make much sense. No, it don't.